Today I'd like to show you some variations of the rice bowl. This culinary workhorse sustains more than half of the world's population on a daily basis, but don't get the wrong idea. What I'm going to show you today is far from pedestrian. The first variation, beef satay rice bowl, takes its inspiration from the bright, lively flavors of the Southeast Asian table. To begin with, we need to make a marinade, and I've got the ingredients all laid out here. I'm going to add some lemongrass that's been chopped up very fine, also some chopped ginger, garlic, red curry paste, palm sugar, and finally some fish sauce. Whip these ingredients together until the sugar and the curry paste have the opportunity to dissolve and disperse themselves. And then we're going to take some flank steak that I've cut at about 1/8 of an inch thick and about 2 inches long. I cut that flank steak on a bias, and we're going to add it to this marinade and let it sit for an hour or two. Next, we need to make the peanut sauce for the beef satay rice bowl. And even though there's quite a few ingredients, it goes very, very quickly, so pay attention. To begin with, we're going to add some oil to a pan. Once the oil's hot, right on top goes minced garlic, some minced shallots, some Thai red curry paste, lime zest, and lemongrass. And we're going to saute those ingredients until they become very, very aromatic. If I had to guess, this is not going to take more than 20 or 30 seconds. Next, we're going to begin to add some of the liquid ingredients. Coconut milk, a little bit of tamarind paste, fish sauce, palm sugar, or if you can't find palm sugar, brown sugar is a great substitute. And stir that all together. We'll need to simmer this for just a short while until it gets thick, but there's still a couple of more ingredients to go. One of them is peanut butter. And I'm going to add that. This is chunky peanut butter because I like the texture. And while that melts a little bit, I'm going to squeeze some fresh lime juice into this pan. I want to make sure that all of the peanut butter is dissolved, and then just simmer it long enough for it to take on a nice viscosity. It should be a little bit like heavy whipping cream, that consistency. Next, I'd like to make a lemongrass vinaigrette. Now, calling it a vinaigrette is a little bit of a misnomer because there's no oil in this at all. It's pretty simple to do. I'm going to get it started by taking some minced lemongrass and adding it to a pan along with a little bit of rice wine vinegar. And I'm going to turn this on to medium. I'm also going to add a few tablespoons of sugar. This is going to simmer for about 10 minutes until the flavor of the lemongrass infuses into the vinegar, and the vinegar reduces by about 1/4. As we're finishing this, we're also going to add some Thai bird chilies. And these chilies are very, very hot. So in the recipe, I give you an option, 2 to 4 Thai bird chilies. Regardless of how many you choose to put into your sauce, what I'm going to ask you to do is make sure that you cut it up very, very finely. What I like to do is cut it straight across into the thinnest possible slices. Now, if your slices look a little bit heavier than this, then what I would suggest is go back and just mince the Thai bird chilies until you have very, very small pieces. For this particular recipe, I'm going to use 2 chilies. This has been simmering now for about 10 minutes, and what I'm going to suggest is you take it and strain it into a bowl. At this point, we no longer need the lemongrass, we just need the vinegar that has the lemongrass flavor in it. Press it with the back of a spoon to make sure that you get all of the liquid from the lemongrass. Next, I'm going to add the Thai bird chilies. I'm going to add a little bit of fish sauce, about a half a teaspoon of salt. And then finally, I have some lime juice. And I think of the lime juice as a variable commodity. We need to balance the flavor of this sauce using lime juice. If it tastes too sweet, you might use a little bit more. If, on the other hand, if it tastes a little bit acidic, you might choose to use less. That's all there is to it. This lemongrass vinaigrette is done. Okay, we're ready to finish up the beef satay rice bowl. I've got all the components laid out here in front of me. I've got the cooked rice. We cooked this a little bit earlier. I just want to make sure everybody's aware that you don't need a rice cooker like this to cook good jasmine rice. If you have a pot with a tight-fitting lid and a burner that you can control, you've got everything you need. In addition to the rice, I've got some lettuce, carrots, and bean sprouts, a nice selection of different herbs, the lemongrass vinaigrette that we made earlier, and the peanut sauce that we made earlier. I'm going to start to preheat my pan so that we can saute this beef, and while the pan is getting hot, I'm going to build the rice bowl. To start with, I'm going to take some of this U.S. jasmine rice and mound it into the bowl. Unfortunately, you can't appreciate how aromatic this rice is. Next, I'm going to take and add some lettuce. This is tender lettuce like butter lettuce or green leaf. I'm going to add some carrots and some bean sprouts. I'm also going to tear up some basil leaves and some mint leaves, just into big pieces. And this can be mixed and set aside. I'm going to add a little bit of oil, and we're going to take the beef and slide it into the hot pan. Now it's important to allow the beef to sit on the hot pan and do what it needs to do, which is to say brown a little bit. The more you move it, the more likelihood you won't get any browning. So be a little bit patient here, spread the meat out, and be careful not to overload the pan. While this is cooking, just remember that when we made this marinade, there was a good deal of sugar, palm sugar in it. So just keep your eye on it. Already I'm starting to see some nice browning. I'm going to flip this meat once. And if I have it my way, the meat will be cooked about a medium rare when I take it from the pan. Okay, I'm going to turn that off and bring the rice bowl back. I'm going to drizzle on just a little bit of this lemongrass vinaigrette to dress all the herbs and the greens and the carrots and the rice itself. Next, I'm going to make a little nest in the middle for the beef. And then finally, a sprig or two of cilantro. A drizzle of our peanut sauce. And just a few chopped peanuts. That's all there is to the beef satay rice bowl.